Hey guys, former prop trader. Thanks for stopping by. Today I want to talk about some data that, to me, doesn't make any sense. So, article came out yesterday, Monday, October 19th, saying that Homebuilder Sentiment hit a record high. Not like, a new high relative to the last few months, but a new high since they've been recording this statistic. I think 20 plus years they've been recording this. Now, granted, this isn't actual home builder prices. This is how optimistic the home builders feel about how well things are going. On the other hand, multiple news articles this week, I'll link to them in the description, of how new jobless claims rise. So we were hoping that the rate of new people filing for unemployment, we were hoping that would decrease. It's not. Depending how you want to measure unemployment, a lot of different ways of measuring it, depending the narrative you're trying to say. The true unemployment rate, you can put it anywhere between 8%, the most optimistically, all the way to 25%, if you want to get kind of more exotic of how you actually define unemployment. You put these numbers together, who can actually afford the housing prices? Like, not just, a mortgage, but like a rent payment. When people are losing their jobs left and right, people still lost their jobs, a lot of stimuluses ran out. And yet we have home builder sentiment who are feeling as optimistic as ever. There's a few possibilities I want to talk about here, but there was one other guy I want to mention. His name is Uneducated Economist. I'll link to his YouTube channel. He's got a lot of experience in the lumberyards, and he sells to contractors who do a lot of selling to home builders. So he's got a very interesting perspective on how all this kind of adds up. My perspective put together a few possibilities that I think might explain what's going on. Okay, possibility one. Home prices are too high. Probably maybe the most obvious explanation. So maybe home prices are about to tank. It might take a while. I don't know. The economic fundamental data doesn't necessarily look good for the housing market right now, but that's one possibility. Maybe housing prices are just too high. Another possibility: did we start modern monetary theory? Basically, the theory that the government's going to keep doing quantitative easing / printing money until we hit inflation. Now we get into, how do you actually define inflation? Do you look at asset price inflation, which has absolutely been happening, versus core price inflation, which excludes so many things? I'm not sure how much it actually measures. But yeah, if we started modern monetary theory, then you would start looking to see huge inflation. So maybe that's an explanation. Number three, maybe unemployment isn't that bad, or maybe the signs are pointing up, maybe things are getting better. Man, your guess is as good as mine. I personally don't think it looks good. Number four, it's either Wall Street or wealthy families buying multiple properties. So it's not just someone buying one house, but maybe buying a rental house, or people buying multiple properties. So basically, you're going to buy a residence that's not just your own, with hope to rent it out, or maybe sell it or flip it later. I want to get back to this point later, but that's another possibility. It's just, you have the wealthy people buying up houses, even though average people can't afford housing. Fifth possibility: we are about to have a homeless epidemic. That would be terrible. But if people can't afford housing, I need some serious action from Washington to keep that from happening. And then, the last possibility, I could just be an idiot. There's really no precedent to explain what's going on here. I have no expertise here. I'm just kind of looking at these numbers. It's not adding up to me. Back to that, are there people or Wall Street buying multiple houses? So the problem I have with that theory is, when you buy a house, you're hoping to either, if it's not for yourself to live in, you're hoping to either flip it later, sell it, or rent it out. But when you look at all these unemployment numbers and people who don't have any cash, I think all the data is showing that the average person can't afford a housing payment, whether it's rent or mortgage. And I just don't really see how that's going to change anytime soon. So, I mean, the hypothesis that it's the wealthy that are buying up properties right now at record high prices with the hopes to flip it or rent it out later, I mean, maybe that could certainly be. I mean, when bubbles happen, I'm not saying this is a bubble, but when bubbles do happen, you do have peak euphoria right before it pops. So maybe that's what's going on. I have no idea. Looking forward, when you think of like the societal implications of this, there's going to be some major societal political implications. Again, I don't think this election, not in 2020, I think people have made their minds up. Election's like 2 weeks away or something. But in like 2024 and beyond, if like a lot of people are homeless, they can't afford housing or education or health insurance or childcare, man, that starts adding up. And you know, right now people are very interested in cultural ways to divide themselves, but man, I just wonder if things keep going on this trend. It's not just the rich getting richer, it's the poor can't afford to like survive, and more people are having a harder and harder time just keeping up, and this was even pre-pandemic. I hope it all gets better, but man, it's very interesting times. I don't know what precedent you could use to analyze the situation. That's all I got. Former prop trader. Thanks for watching.